2, 1.
Hello, St Helens Council. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for being patient. There was a little bit of a delay starting this, but I hope that you're all having a good day wherever you are. I'm coming to you live from a really gloomy, cold London afternoon. Hopefully where you are, you're staying safe and you're nice and warm. You have a cup of tea or coffee ready and waiting to go through this event. I hope you do enjoy it because we have a lot of good content to go through with you today. Now, we are joined by many special guests, and we can enable them to maybe start saying hello at this point. So I'm actually going to open up the mic to all of our lovely guests for you all. So over to you all, whoever wants to start first.
Hi, I'm Vicky Scriven. I'm the MIS Training and Service Desk Manager for St Helens Schools.
Hi everybody, I'm Lee Pearson. I'm the primary school team leader for the ICT support. We've been responsible for pushing teams out in St Helens for all your pupils to use and schools to use.
Excellent stuff. Thank you both for saying your introductions. I'm sure that everyone does kind of know who you are. I'm hoping so. And they are absolutely there in the Q&A, which I'll introduce to you in a moment, to answer any questions that I might not be able to answer, and another of my special guests who I'll introduce in just a moment. But let's continue through the slides and go through what we're going to be looking through. So you hear a little bit of music there, which I'll skip. But here are your trainers today. We have Jason, who is speaking right now. I'm on the top of the screen there, and I'm a Microsoft trainer from the Microsoft Experience Center in London. And we have the lovely Alessandro, who's down on the bottom there, slightly bigger face than mine because he's definitely someone that should be spotlighted. He's an education expert, so that's why I made him a little bit bigger. But Alessandro, do you want to say hello to everyone?
That's a nice way of putting it. Thank you so much, Jason. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this training session. We're very happy to have you all here with us today. And we are basically here to give you a little bit more support when it comes to Microsoft Teams. Both Jason and I work at the Microsoft Experience Center in London, and we're here to highlight how beneficial this app is. We have Vicky and Lee in the session, so if you do have any questions more specific to St Helens Council, feel free to ask us any questions and they will be able to answer them. But if you do have any questions more specific to Microsoft Teams, feel free to send them over to me and I'll be happy to answer at any time throughout this training session. That's it for me, Jason. Back to you.
Thank you, Ali. So it looks like we have a nice dream team here. Hopefully we can answer everything as we go through this. But let's make sure you feel comfortable with the event. How are you going to ask us these questions? So you may have seen the Q&A options, and you'll see a question mark and 2 speech bubbles on the top right-hand corner of your screen. From here, you can access the Q&A where you can type in anonymously, or you can introduce yourselves. It would be lovely to know who's in the room today, but feel free to use that as you wish. Now, importantly, when you write anything into the Q&A, it will be private between us, the presenters and moderators. No one else will see it as part of the attendees. But we may decide to post it to everyone to see, because maybe you have a fantastic comment or a really great question that comes through that we want everyone to see. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Now, another thing that you can know is the controls for the video player. So even though this is live, you can actually pause this at any stage, maybe take some notes at your own pace and press play again. And when you do that, it will continue from where you last left off. You'll also see a live button, which takes you to the current moment I'm speaking, so you can get the most up-to-date information. And you can also use that timeline where you see a white dot, and you can drag that backwards to essentially rewind time and maybe watch something that you may have missed. So hopefully you can see here a few options for you to learn at your own pace. Don't worry if you missed anything, because you can absolutely control it like that. But let's continue to look further. So in this training, we may cover features in Teams that your school does not have enabled. So it's really key to understand that, because it's highly customizable. Microsoft Teams is a space that can be absolutely changed dependent on the needs of that environment. So there are a few things that may not be turned on or may be turned on. Now, it's a great way for you to have conversation to say, hey, maybe that looks great, maybe we can use this, and you can start having those conversations. And like we said, we have the lovely team here that can answer these hopefully during the session. So one thing for you to know about as we go through this session. So here is the plan. we are going to be going through a guide for parents and students, and this is a great resource for you to take away. And this allows you to go through some resources to help you to understand what Microsoft Teams for Education is, and something to take away after the event, because of course 1 hour is not enough to learn absolutely everything. So we want to make sure you feel equipped and feel comfortable with this tool. We'll then be looking at how you can have conversations within Microsoft Teams. What does that look like? So your one-on-one conversations, group conversations, whether that be with teachers or fellow students, I'll show you how that looks. And also classrooms. What does a virtual classroom look like, and how can you interact with that? So really want to show you what that looks like, because that's primarily what you're going to be seeing when you're seeing the students and your children using Microsoft Teams. Now, meetings is another great tool and a really great way to have those one-on-one interactions or group interactions in a virtual classroom, where you could show yourself on camera, you can engage with each other, or just go through a presentation maybe online. Really, really good. Then there's some other great tools when it comes to documents. How are you going to find your assignments and grades, and how is that all going to work? It can be a bit strange, right? But we have a great space just for that within Microsoft Teams, all organized really nicely. And then there's some really nice troubleshooting tips that will come in handy, all things that I've gone through, and I've gone through many things during these sessions. So hopefully my mishaps will help you out when it comes to your turn, and you'll know how to actually resolve these issues that you might occur during your days, but hopefully it's okay. So firstly, guide for parents and students. So we're going to be posting in a great tool for you, and it is essentially this link. It's aka.ms/Teams for Families. So keep your eyes peeled on the Q&A section. In the featured section, you'll see that being posted by the lovely Ali. Now, this is a place for you to go through and just make sure that you can have that great access to that resource, because we want you to feel comfortable. You can download it as well if you wanted to, and go through this alongside me or after the event. So feel free to do that as you wish. However, I will continue to move forward because I want to actually demonstrate this stuff to you. I think it's probably better to just show you, right? So conversations with chat. Here we're going to be looking at one-on-one chat conversations, those group conversations, and something we call chats in channels. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. And what I'm going to do now at this stage is I'm actually going to unshare my screen just momentarily. And at this stage, I will start sharing a demonstration area for you. Now, this demonstration area I have created just to give you an idea of what it might look like. So this is where it comes into play that you might be seeing things that aren't exactly like what you see on your screens. But here we go. We are currently in Microsoft Teams, and just so you know, I'm accessing Microsoft Teams via the web browser. So what does that mean? I'm accessing it via the internet using Microsoft Edge. Now I could use Google Chrome, for example, and access it that way. So as long as I have internet connection, I can find Microsoft Teams. But how did I get there? I went to office.com. So I'll go to the first tab here where you can see office.com. And when I go to office.com, I can see all of the applications that I have as part of my package. Now, just so you know, because I'm demonstrating, I am Douglas. So as you know, I'm actually Jason, but I'm pretending to be a student named Douglas. And as Douglas, as a student, I have access to only a few applications here, but some key ones, including Teams. Now, if you ever get lost, you can always go to this top left-hand corner, because this is an app launcher that allows you to find all of the applications that you have access to. So really easy to find. Now, when you choose your application, and in this case, Microsoft Teams, it will open up a new tab just at the top of your web browser, and you can start going into Microsoft Teams. But just as a reminder, Microsoft Teams is something you can download on your desktop, and anything I showed to you today, you can do on the desktop application as well. It's just an option for you to access Teams. So hopefully that makes sense. So now we are in Microsoft Teams. Let's do a quick overview of this area. So what you're seeing right now is we are in the chat space, and you can see the chat icon is slightly highlighted. Now, this left-hand panel is what we call the app rail, and this allows us to go into different areas within Microsoft Teams that gives us different information. So you may be spotting things already that I've mentioned. Here you can find those different teams. And within here, you can find channels. So that's where channel conversations come into play, but I'll go into that in a moment. And here are all of your assignments. You can find all of them on the left-hand side here, really handy, as well as great things like calendar. So you can see all of the upcoming virtual classrooms that you need to attend, really easy to find. And even a file repository for you to absolutely see at a pinch. So really easy. And this down here on the bottom right is an example of a banner here. And you may start seeing those during the demonstration. Great way to get notifications, but I'm going to take that away for now. Now, this section here, as I'm in the chat area, this is showing me a list of all of the individual chats and the group chats that I have already active. Now, the good thing with this is it's persistent, so I can absolutely pop into any of these and start to see what's been happening with my teacher, Cara Coleman, for example. Or I can see what's happening in the geography class help group that has been created so that I can get some help with my geography class. Now, this is an example of some smaller chat conversations, things that are maybe informal or places for you to talk to your friends or places to have a smaller conversation with your teacher away from other people in the class, because not everyone needs to see all of the conversations, right? Maybe you just need a little bit of help. So the chat space is great for that. Now, if I continue going through the tour, on the right-hand side, this is the large space where you can see any of those persistent chat conversations. So, for example, popping into this area, we can see the lovely Lisa Simpson here, and we've been chatting away in this small group. And we can have all of those chat conversations using this area. Now, on the top of the screen, you'll see search. Search is where you can find any messages, people, files, all within Teams. So you don't need to go and get worried about where things are. You can essentially start typing things in here. So for example, if I typed in Cara, I will find my teacher, Cara Coleman, up here really easily. But I'll also find any of the groups that I'm part of that Cara Coleman or Miss Coleman is part of as well. So easy to find those. However, if I press on enter, I will start to be able to search for specific things, such as messages from Cara Coleman, or I can filter to find someone named Cara Coleman, or even files that might have Cara's name or from Cara Coleman as well. So really easy to find. Now, there are more things you can do here, such as by pressing on /, I can do some shortcuts. And these are great when you start to get very advanced with Microsoft Teams, because you might want to do things like changing your activity. So we all have a status in Microsoft Teams to let each other know if we're available or if we're away. So if you want to, you can use this /, and all of these icons here, these are instructions to let you know what it would do if you typed in /busy, for example, or /call. This is a great way to have a shortcut. So let's try it out now. If I say /away, it will set my status to away. So I'm going to press on this and type away. When I press on enter, it changes my status to let everyone know that I'm away currently. Maybe I popped out for lunch and I'm no longer working on my homework. But now I'm going to press / and I'm going to type in available, but I don't need to type in the whole thing, just some of it, press enter, and now I'm back and available for everyone to talk to. So some really key things here. And the next thing is the settings area, and here you can change many things like adding your lovely picture. Hopefully you will start to go through this, and this is a great place for you to start customizing as you wish. But I won't go too much further into here because I want to go a bit more further into chats area, but just wanted to give you that tour to help you understand this area.
Jason, can I just jump in for a second?
Of course.
Thank you so much. I have to say, though, your presentation's been so smooth that people are asking if this is a live person delivering. And I just wanted to jump in and say that. And another piece of news that we do want to tell you is that you do not have chats enabled in your schools at St Helens Council, but the chats are enabled from within a meeting environment. So Jason, maybe it would be best to showcase that from within a meeting, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So showcasing chats within meetings.
Thank you so much.
No problem. I am a robot. No, I'm not. I'm actually a real person. So I'm actually going to pop into the calendar instead, because if you can't see this, then thank you for letting us know. But we'll pop into calendar. And now calendar allows us to see all of the scheduled classrooms that we have. So it looks like Douglas only has one class this week and it's already happened. So no problem. I have a few days off, but let's see what it looks like. Let's say, for example, I need to attend this class, which has been set up by my teacher. And you can see that Alan DeYoung is the teacher that set that up. Now I can click into this and I can join. Now there's some key details here. I can see the name of the class, when that is, and I can see if that's part of a classroom group. And in this case, it's part of the West College Scotland classroom group. But of course, in your case, could be named absolutely anything dependent on how that teacher is setting up that class. Now you can chat with participants directly from this location. So I'll give you a little preview. If I pop into here, it opens up this little space here and it's jumped me straight in to the Teams space because this is the virtual classroom. And so therefore that conversation area is all here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop back to calendar. Now remember this lovely picture of the cat here. If I pop back into the calendar, but I actually join this class, you should see the same chat conversations because it saves that persistent conversation within your classrooms. So we're going to bypass this screen. That's essentially just asking me if I want to have my mic on or not. And this is the lobby before I jump into my class to prepare. And Douglas is looking very happy now. So I'm going to pop in and join now. So now we have popped in. This is where we can see a few things, and chat is the area we want to focus on. You can see that show conversation is here with an orange dot, which indicates there's new things to look at. And there you go. You can see the exact same chat conversation that we looked at just moments ago. And this is a persistent chat, and you can see that lovely cat here. Now I can continue to write in this location to everyone in my class and say, hey, that was a great class. By simply sending this message, that's now been part of this engagement in the classroom, and I can do a few more other things. So let's explore at the bottom area here. There are a few icons that are of interest and how we can get involved. So you can see this A with a pen, and this is a format tool. This allows me to add bolds or italics or underlines to any of my messages, as well as highlights and even change the size of my text. And I have 3 dots here that allow me to go even further. So if I wanted to change font size, indentations, bullet points, quotations, all of those great things, I can do so. So for example, I'm going to say, I have brought everything I need, and I'm going to have this semicolons or this colons, and I'm going to enter to go down here, and I'm going to use these 3 dots to use this bullet list, and then I'm going to say new stationery, my presentation, my lunch, and that's the most important thing, I think. And I'm going to highlight the lunch, make that bold, and I can of course go into here and I can change any number of these, and maybe I'm going to say that this is important to highlight this, but maybe that's a bit too much. So I'm going to go over here and remove that it's important and just pop that through. But maybe I can add something that's quite fun, and this can be turned on and off in your environment too. We can have emotes here to have a little bit of fun here, and we can also use GIFs to say that I have my lunch and I'm going to be looking like Winnie the Pooh in a little bit of time here. And I'll press on enter, and there you go. You can format these tools, and it's really fantastic to do so. Now you'll also see when you hover over your chat, you can react to your own chat conversations, which I would avoid because it might look strange, but you might want to go over someone else's one and give them a nice little heart to say that I loved your comment. Now, if you hover over, you'll also see 3 dots, which means you can actually save messages. So if you were to save your messages, they actually bookmark in the location where your picture is. And this is a really good use case if you want to be able to bookmark really important things so that you can find them again without ever having to search for them. So that's another great tool for you. Feel free to use that. You can also go into here and you can copy or share it as an email. You can even translate. So if someone is using a different language, you can translate this too. Now, another fantastic tool is this immersive reader that allows us to change how you view your messages, and it completely changes the screen, right? You can see everything is changed here and it's broken it down in a different format. And this is a great way for me to actually go through and change the font sizes and the colors of the screen, because it might be easier for me to view this content. So this is a great learning tool, because not only does it make it accessible for absolutely everyone, because sometimes people will find it difficult to see certain content. You can absolutely change this up as you wish, which I absolutely love. Now, it also allows you to have this read aloud. So I'm actually going to share with you, by pressing on play, you'll hear that this will be read out aloud for us. So let's go.
Can you please draw your favorite fish?
Absolutely. Maybe I'll draw that later. So you can absolutely have that play. And you can see here a settings option where I can change the speed of that voice, and I can change the gender as well. And I'm actually going to start from that top area again and press on play.
Can you please draw your favorite fish?
And I will draw my favorite fish later. But as you can see, you can even choose specific words and have that called out too.
You
Which is fantastic,
can.
because you can use it as a great tool for grammar purposes. So you can see I have syllables selected here, or I can even break down the nouns in this area, the verbs, the adjectives, and I can have different labels too, which are really fantastic. Now I can have labels to show me what they are. So N are nouns. So you can see really good tools to understand some of the language options. Now I can also go to reading preferences, and I can use line focus, which allows me to be able to see the content I need to without being too distracted, because sometimes it can be distracting to see so much things on the page at one time. Now you also see picture dictionary on, and that means with certain words, you'll see pictures come up to indicate what that word is. So again,
Fish.
we can see exactly what a fish is and see it at the same time. But let's go one better. Let's change the language here, and I'm going to select that we change this to French, because here I can change the whole document and be able to have this all read out to me in French instead. So you can see here at the top, I can switch to the original or to the French, and of course I can have this read out to me as I wish in any way or form. And maybe let's figure out what this is. That preview means scheduled. Let's see how I said that. Did I say it right?
Prévu.
Preview. There you go. So really great tools here. And if you want to leave, just press the backspace and we're back to where we were before. So hopefully you enjoyed looking at those, but let's look at a little bit further. If you hover over your own message, not only do you have the same tools that I just showed you, but you have another couple extra ones: edit and delete. So you never have to worry if you make any mistakes. Pop back into this, press on edit, and you can always come back to here. And maybe you want to pop over to here and add another emote, and I'll add in a bit of an extra one, a heart sign, and now I approve of that. Press on the tick, we've added that in. Or if you want to, pop back to the three dots, press on delete, and there you go, it's gone. No one can see that you wrote that message, so you don't need to worry about that. But really key, you can always undo that if you wanted to and bring that message right back so everyone can see it. So hopefully you can see some really good stuff there. Now I'm going to leave and quickly show you the Teams area, which is taking me straight to it, because this is where your classrooms are and these are where your channels are. So the channels, for example, could be like this. So I'm going to show these because your teacher or your school may structure your classes in weeks. So it could be a specific class, and every single channel will be a specific week with specific content, a specific class, and assignments. So you'll find those all in here. So hopefully that makes sense. Now in here, you can see that persistent chat within the virtual classroom here, and I can continue to chat to everyone. However, a very big tip for you all, when you talk within your team spaces, you'll see reply at the bottom of every single thread. Now, a thread is essentially a list of conversations that connect to each other. So to make sure that you're speaking to each other within the correct context, so you're able to make sure everyone understands what you're talking about, you're talking in that same classroom, you want to reply. Because if you don't reply and you create a new conversation, it would look like you might be talking about something completely different. So I'll give you an example. If I go to new conversation and I'll say great class and I press enter, you can see a small gap in between these conversations. However, if I go to reply and I say great class, this is connected and people know what I'm talking about. Now, to show you how powerful this is and why it's important, if I leave this area like so, and I pop back into the previous space, you will see that it's completely different. So where does great class come? We have great class replied at the bottom here, but the one that I wrote that was not connected to that thread has now appeared at the top. And now it looks like I'm just talking to myself here and no one knows what class I attended. So that's why you would not want to create a new conversation if you're trying to reply to others. But like I said before, pop back to here, press delete, and no one even knows that I made that mistake. Easy going. So there you go. That's the chats one-on-one in a meeting or a virtual classroom and in your channels as well, which are essentially your virtual classrooms as well. So I'm going to pop back to the presentation. While I do that, let's pop over to Ali to see how everyone's feeling so far. Hopefully that is a nice introduction to how you'll be talking within Microsoft Teams. So over to you, Ali.
Great, Jason. Thank you so much. It's great to mention how to use our chat within our Teams environment. So in the case of St Helens Council, the chat functionality is not available as a chat. It is available just from within your meeting environment, which is exactly what Jason demonstrated just now to all of us. Jason, I do have to say that we have an amazing crowd today asking loads of questions. We have teachers, we have people that use Teams at their workplace, and they seem to be very interested in everything that you're sending us. We even got messages saying that this training is very helpful, and it was basically 20 minutes past the beginning of this training session. So well done, and back to you.
Thank you, Ellie, and thank you so much for all the great comments. And just a piece on the people that are teachers and educators in this class right now, or in this session, I should say. This session is really helping families and users as students to use this. So you're seeing it from their standpoint. So if you see things that I'm showcasing that don't go too much into detail on creating assignments and how to grade them, don't worry, we do have sessions just for you educators. But hopefully this is a great way to have a little look into what it looks like for your students. And of course, all of you parents out there, I hope that you're really enjoying to see how it would be used by your children. So let's keep going. We're going to pop over to remote classroom with Teams. I always like this picture. I am wondering if you're all pumping the air like this lady is right now. But let's look at the remote classroom with Teams. Now we're going to look at the class notebook, assignments and grades. What does that look like? So let's pop back into the demo environment to show you how easy it is to find everything and why I keep saying that, because everything is located in what we call tabs, and these are great ways to organize the space. So you should be seeing my screen again. We're now back in Microsoft Teams on the web. Now let's look at a few things. At the very top of the screen, you can see that we're in posts. We've been posting away using chats, but you can see a whole host of other icons, files being one of them. Great place to find all your files. I'm giving you a sneak peek here. But now let's look into Class Notebook. It's all here by default. Class Notebook, assignments and grades all are found within the Teams area within Microsoft Teams. So apologies if I say Teams too many times. But let's pop into the Class Notebook, and here you can see a great space to work on. Now, if you want to have a bigger space when you're in this notebook, you can go to this 2 arrows and make it a bit wider so it's easier to see, and I'll do that for you all now. Now, you might be wondering, what is this? this is your digital notebook, and it is an endless space for you to utilize. So all those days where you were carrying all of those notebooks super heavy, you don't need to worry anymore because we have a virtual version and it's infinite. So I'm going to open up this panel here on the left, and this shows you some great tools because we have this first area, which is known as our sections area. And then on the right hand side, these are our pages. So this is very similar to a folder. With every folder, a folder has dividers, right? And each divider has pieces of paper within them that are categorized together to make it make sense. So in this case, we have a welcome category, and within the welcome category, we have the pages for welcome to class notebook and FAQs class notebook. Now we also have another area, and I'll go into these. These are the important ones. Collaboration space. So this is another section in your notebook that allows you to actually start seeing how you can collaborate with others in your classroom. And this collaboration space is a great place because not only yourself as a student, but you can have your teacher jump in here as well. And it's a great place to start working on those. And you can see some examples below. Uh-oh.
Hey, Jason, I think we can still hear you.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I was going to switch my network. So that's how you know I'm a real person. So I'm back. Hopefully everything's going well. So we are still looking at the sections of the notebook, and you can see some examples here of some sections that we are using to collaborate on the digital notebook. Now you can see here week 1, and we can also see Oceans class. So these could be spaces that you decide to create. This could be yourself as a student, or your teachers might decide, hey, let's start creating a space to have some fun and work on these together. Now at the bottom of the screen, you'll see add section, and this is where you can add certain things. So you can decide to make more sections if you wish to. Maybe there's certain classes you want to make sections for example, by pressing on add section, we can have geography class. And this will be great for everyone in that geography class to jump into. And now you can see next to geography class, we have untitled page. And maybe this could be class 1. And then we can add another page within geography class section. And this could be class 2. And we can keep building that as we wish. So there we go. So now that we are creating these sections, let's actually start playing around within the notebook. I'm going to stay in geography class 2, and let's imagine I'm starting to add some things. So at the top here, I have many different tools, but let's start doing some great things. We're going to insert some pictures, for example, and maybe these pictures may be online or from my computer. And in this case, to make it really nice and easy, I'm actually going to type in Earth, and we're going to add in a picture of the Earth, and then we're going to insert, and we can easily start adding certain things like this, and they start to insert, and everyone can actually have access to this, my teachers and other students as well. Now, if I wanted to continue, I can absolutely start to build up on this and add some more areas. So I can move this around if I wanted to, and I'm going to actually go to the draw section, because here I can choose to add some drawings. Maybe I'm going to use this pen icon and maybe this red here, and I can start highlighting certain areas, and I can actually start saying, what is that continent? And then my teacher can pop into here and say, yeah, that you were correct, or maybe I'm wrong. So we can see, maybe I'm going to pretend that I've gotten it wrong. Maybe my teacher will pop in here and say, oops, you've got that completely wrong. And that's how you can add certain things and start to draw within here. You can absolutely do this at the same time. Now I'm using red, and you can see now that someone has popped into here and done a little drawing on the top left-hand corner, and they're now editing that. And as they go through that, that's the showcase of that collaboration space. So my teacher is coming into here and letting me know, maybe we can try a Again, excellent. So I can pop into here. I'm going to erase this. And it looks a little bit more like it is America. And that is also South America. So we've tried again, and hopefully teacher is happy with me. And apologies for my writing here, but I'm using a screen to write onto here. But don't worry, if you don't have a touchscreen device, you can use your mouse to write into here if you wanted to. So it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, teacher, for that. So we can continue to go through, because I'm going to show you some other things. Let's pop back to the sections and look at some other areas. Content library. The reason why there's a content library in your notebook is because this is the location you'll find content from your teachers to find anything that's helpful for your classes. So the reason why I say that is because this is where teachers would leave the documents and things that are important for your assignments, and you won't be able to make any changes to them. Only the teachers can. So this is really important difference between the collaboration space and the content library. So your teacher will be utilizing this to add as much tools for you. And in this case, they've created an Oceans class assignments area, and they've been adding some resources for the Oceans class presentation. And I have some documents here. So Oceans class here, so I can open this up if I wanted to and be able to use this if I needed to. And I can also go to waterfalls of the world and see any tools that might be really helpful for me. Now I can't make any changes to this because I'm just a student and only my teacher can. However, every single student has their own section just for them. And this is the exciting one, because here, this is where you and your teacher will start to work together on all of your homework, any quizzes that they want to pop up, and go through all of those. Now, I don't know if you like pop-up quizzes or not, but you will find them in the quizzes section, and your teacher will be popping those through. But you'll be able to go into here and look at any homework that is provided for you. And you can start doing your homework on this notebook if you wanted to. So you can start actually using this instead, and maybe adding in some notes from your classes. So maybe we have Oceans class notes for homework, and you can start just typing away and start using these tools up here to edit along and start having some great times going through the presentation. And you can just continue to work on this as you wish. So this is a great place for you to go to, and your teachers can come into here just like before and mark your work. So it's fantastic. This is why you would love to use the classroom notebook. Now let's get out of here for now. We're going to use these two arrows to make it smaller so we can see these tabs again. Now let's pop into the assignments tab and start investigating what assignments look like for the students. Now, teachers and educators will be popping in assignments from time to time, and you'll see them all listed in this section. So all you need to do is go into assignments, and anytime an assignment is assigned to you or you get a new homework, you will get a notification. It will go into the channel in the posts. So if I go into posts here, you will see some assignments being listed, and you may see one from the teacher here, just like this one. Oceans essay, the world's oceans. So this is when you know that there's an assignment due, but you always want to go into assignments to see how everything's going. So we can see that this is assigned and I'm late, so I do need to post this. This is past due, and Miss Coleman is going to really get me in trouble here. So I'm going to look at anything completed, and I've completed my oceans essay, so I'm okay with that. But also, your teacher may be providing you with points, and this could be your grading system. Maybe it's an A, B, C grading system or a points-based system dependent. So you can see all of the grade systems that might be in play here. Now, if I go into, for example, this oceans essay, the world's oceans, I'm going to be able to see what this is all about. So I can see that this essay, I have an instruction to please submit a 1,000-word essay on the world's oceans using information from the presentation. So we had a presentation in our meeting, for example, and now I need to submit. So in this case, I haven't been provided with any resources, but maybe there's some from that notebook from earlier, right? I can use those resources, and then eventually I can add my work. And when I'm ready to submit, I can add my work from a few locations. So there's one from my OneDrive, which is essentially a virtual hard drive where you can save your documents on the internet. Or I can add a new file and create a file straight from here and work from that. Or I can even create a link to a specific web address as well as a very common one, upload from this device. So if you wanted to upload your essay from your computer desktop, this is exactly how you do it. And once you attach it, for example, by popping into your computer and maybe finding something of importance, you can absolutely start attaching that and submitting it. And then that will be really helpful to submit to everyone. And then once you do that, press on assign or attach, and then you can hand in. And in my case, I'm handing it in late. Very sorry, Miss Coleman, but I still get that lovely rocket to let me know I've done a good job, even though it was a little late. So there you go. We're going to go to back. It's now popped into as completed, and now I know I just need to go into here. But I can always go and review my completed assignments, and I can pop back into this Oceans one. I can undo the hand in. Maybe I need to make some changes. So I'll pop into undo, and actually let's make some edits before we actually submit this. And then I can pop back into here and submit it later again. So absolutely up to you what you do with that. Feel free to do that. So really easy to go. But now let's say you've submitted everything, you're very happy, but now what's happening with your grades? And as you guessed it, it's the next tab. All you need to do is go into here, and from this location, you can see if the teacher has viewed the essay, or if I still need to hand it in, just like we saw before, or has it been returned to me? So as my teacher said, hey, I've checked it out and I've returned it to you to do a few more things. And maybe there's some feedback for me, and I can open this up and hey, oh, thank you very much. That's impressive. Well done. And I got a 99.5. What can I do to get a 0.5 extra? I'm not sure. I'll talk to my teacher about that. But there you go. Really easy to see your grading system. And I'm looking forward to my teacher actually reviewing that essay. Hopefully I get 100 in that one. So hopefully you've enjoyed seeing those tools. Now, what I'm going to do again is I'm going to switch on back to my presentation and again, have a quick stop to see how everyone's doing. So let's pop over to Ali.
Hey, Jason, thank you so much. Great to learn more about the class notebook and the assignments and grades bit. I think just one thing while we were talking about answering things, writing things, and basically collaborating, would you mind just going back to your files, for example, and showing our participants today that we have the option of opening the files by using our desktop applications?
Absolutely, more than happy to do that. So what I'll do is I'll quickly show my screen again and show you exactly what that looks like. But really good questions. I'm glad that everyone's so attentive in this session. So here we go. We're back in Teams. And let's go back to files. And so these are all of the files that are available in my class. And these are ones that maybe I've uploaded, such as Douglas here with my Oceans paper. And if I actually want to open this file up, there's a few ways I can do it. I can click on these three dots and you can see that a menu appears. Now this menu has an open sign, and here I can choose to open it up from the app, which means it will open up within Microsoft Teams and a new tab, or I can open up in the browser. So the app is actually the desktop version and the browser is actually the new tab. So if I open up in browser, you'll see that the tab opens up and I'll have to sign in to open this up. However, if I go back to Microsoft Teams and I go back to the three dots, press on open, and then when it comes up, open in app means it will open up in the desktop application so that you can use your Microsoft Word from your computer desktop as opposed to the browser or within Teams. So hopefully that shows you quite nicely what that looks like.
Yeah, amazing. Just a quick reminder, you guys, so you parents here today, feel free to download and install Office on your own devices, because the license that the schools have allows you to do that. So you don't need to have everything done online. You can basically do everything by using your desktop applications. Thank you, Jason. Back to you.
Thank you very much. So let's keep moving forward. We got a few more things to go through. So next one, we're going to look at managing meetings with calendar. So this is where we look at those meetings that we looked at, the classroom environment, how you participate in these classrooms. So we're going to pop into that meeting again, but we're going to look at a few more different options. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to share my screen once again to go back to Microsoft Teams and show you exactly what that looks like. But thank you so much, as always, for those great comments. I know that you're keeping Alessandro very busy, but we're going to pop back into calendar here. We're going to go back into that same class we had before, and let's look at a few different tools. When we go into here, we're going to look at the meeting options that you have on the bottom of the screen here. So let's look at these. You can see I can turn on my camera really easily from here. I can even unmute as well. So I can show myself on camera and participate with my microphone. And that's one of the easiest ways to engage in your classroom. However, I'm going to give you a tip. When it comes to classroom environments online, you want to make sure you're not speaking over each other, and you want to speak at a time when you have been directed to. But there are some ways for you to show to your classroom or to your teacher that you wish to speak or answer a question. So I want to show you the raise your hand feature. This is a great way to say to your teacher that you want to speak. When you raise your hand, what happens is it indicates to your teacher that you want to speak. And I'll show you what it looks like. If I go into show participants, it will show me in a list here and my hand raised. But not only that, the teacher would actually see a number 1 next to this icon here, which indicates to them that someone has their hand raised. Now this will allow them to see who that person is, and then you can come off of mute and then you can speak. Now once you have spoken, I would say to you to come back to that menu and lower your hand, because at that point you want to indicate that you no longer have anything to say, and now you can continue with the presentation or the class. So that's a really key one for you to use. Now there are a few more things that are really interesting, and that is open share tray. So within here, if your teacher has allowed you to, they may allow you to be able to present in the class. So for example, here, I can choose to present an oceans presentation for the entire class. I know it's very scary. You never know. Even I get scared when I do my presentations, even though I sound like I've been doing it all my life. But here you go. You're presenting here, and there's some tools here that are really great for you. You can be speaking about this lovely dolphin, and then you can say, okay, I'm going to the next slide here, slide number 2, an inside look at our oceans. Next slide. This is by Fatima Z, and you can keep going as you go through your presentation and you're speaking. Now you can press on stop presenting when you wish to, and when you do that, you go back to the original view and you're now back in the hands of your teacher. So really easy to go into here. Now there are a few more other areas. We've already covered the conversation piece, but I think I've covered some really great areas, because I'm going to save another couple areas for a little bit later, but they're hidden in these 3 dots, but I'll leave that for next time. And what I'll do is I'm going to hang up. And now we're back to that Teams channel that we saw earlier, because that is always taking us back to that chat space for that virtual classroom. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing that before we start moving on to some of our last moments. I know we're coming to a close soon. It's gone very, very quickly, and I can't believe that it has flown by so much. But let's move onwards. Next one. Manage documents with files. Create a file and share a file. So let's look at exactly what that looks like. So you kind of had a little insight into the files section just moments ago when we showed you how to open up your files in different ways. But I'm going to revisit that area just to show you how you can create new files and share those as well. Because again, we try to make it very easy so that you can be able to do those very, very easily. So firstly, we are back in our classroom, and at the top, as always, we have our classroom notebook, assignments, posts, but let's pop back into files, because here you may have noticed there are many buttons at the top here. Now I can click on new, and when I do that, I create a new area where I can create my own folder, and I can create Word documents, Excel documents, etc. All of those from here. So for example, if I create a Word document here, and I have geography essay, I'm going to create this, and it's actually going to open up within Microsoft Teams. And here I can start writing away. This is my essay about continents. I can use all of those tools at the top here, just like you would in Microsoft Word on the desktop, but you will see that there are some missing tools as opposed to the desktop application. So you might still want to open it up in desktop, and you can use this button just here to open it up if you wanted to use more tools. But as you can see, you can type away as you wish to if you were happy to. Now I'm going to press on close, and when I do that, we can see that geography essay is here, nice and easy to find again. Now if I wanted to, I can always go into this area and I can open that again if I wanted to, and more. So many different things I can do. Copy it, move it around. But there's another space that I want to show you, and that is the file space on the app rail like we saw before. So if you go to the file space, this is a great place for you to manage all of the files that you have in your own internet cloud storage. So for example, here, OneDrive, when I go into this location, I can do something very similar from what I did before and create more files just like this. But the difference between this area and the first area is this area is private to you. However, in the previous space, that was within the classroom, so everyone in the class could see that. So if you wanted to, you can create your document from within here, and it will be private for you until you decide that you want to share it. So now I'm creating it within my personal hard drive, which is known as OneDrive, and then I'm going to close that off. It should save really nicely, and then once I do that, it's saved there for me. And you can see here it's private, so that's why it's so important that you might want to use this space first before you decide to share it, because after that you can decide to move it or copy it to a certain area if you wanted to. Absolutely up to you how you decide to do that. So for example, if I wanted to move it, I could press to move to a team, and then I can choose the classroom that I'm in, and then I could go into physical science maybe and say that this is part of this particular folder and I want to save it in here, that sort of thing. And that's how you share your file within Teams. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing that. Now we are definitely coming to a close, and we have a couple more things to share with you before we start ending the event. So I hope you all have enjoyed this session. I've enjoyed going through this with you all, and I'm hoping that you're going to enjoy the next one because it's all about troubleshooting. So there's a couple of things to do when it comes to troubleshooting. You can test your microphone, test your camera, and turn off incoming video. Now I'm going to pop back to the online classroom meeting to show you what I mean, because this is going to save you a lot of time when it comes to certain things that might occur in the classroom. So let's pop on back to the Teams workspace and that meeting, and I'm going to show you why this is important. So when you're in a classroom, just like this classroom Oceans 1, you're going to do a couple things. When you go into a lobby, you can see these settings. Now, if you are connected to a device, and I'm not in this case, you can check to make sure you're connected to the right audio device, the right speakers, and the right microphone, and the correct camera. So you can do that from the lobby, but you can also do it from inside the meeting too, by going to these three dots. And when you go to show device settings, you will see the same menu here, and you can make sure you're connected to the right device. For example, maybe you have a webcam and it's not working, but maybe you're not connected to it properly. So you just need to select it here. That could be the case. So it's always good to pop into here. Now, another good tip for you would be this icon, turn off incoming video. And that is good to do because when you have incoming video, it takes up a lot of the network of your internet. So it can be a strain on your internet. Now, if you're like me, sometimes you have internet issues, just like you had experienced. Now, if you turn off incoming video, it makes it a lot easier for your internet to handle the call. So you might want to do that as a first attempt to make things better. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing some of those ways to resolve any issues. So that is done with all of those sections. Now it's time to pop back finally to the very last section of the event, and it's going to be time to wrap up. So this is what you learned today. We looked at conversations, the classroom, how you be interacting in meetings, how you actually manage those files, and of course, the troubleshooting section. So I really do hope you enjoyed everything that you went through today. And of course, don't forget to download the aka.ms/Teams for Families. That's going to be really handy for you all when it comes to taking away some resources after the event. Now I'm going to leave one more slide up just for you to provide us with some feedback for our session today. So I want to be reading that you thought that I was a robot or a pre-recorded video. I would love to see those comments, but hopefully you're able to give us a great marking for the session today. I hope you had fun. I had fun delivering it, and I hope you took something away from it. And honestly, it means the world to me to be helping in any way that I can, because I know it's difficult times at the moment, and we really want to get together to help you as much as possible. And I have a brother who's a teacher, and he absolutely lets me know how difficult it is as well, but we're all here to help each other. So I hope this has been helpful for all of you. But I'm going to pop back over to Ali to see how everyone's feeling before we start wrapping up, and everyone can maybe hop off for a bit of tea.
Thank you so much, Jason. I've already shared all the resources that they need as well. So the link for Teams for Families is available in our chat, and also our feedback link. So if you can spend maybe 1 or 2 minutes of your time, it would be great for you to share your feedback with us and just let us know how we did today and the best things or the nicest things that you've learned as well. The questions are super easy. You can basically rate us from 0 to 10. Unfortunately, there is no 11 there, but we would be happy with a 10. But I think that's all from me. I'm gonna pass it to Vicky or Lee just for their final kind of words, and if they have anything to add before we finish this training session today.
Well, thanks, Alessandro. Thanks, Jason, for that. Thanks very much. I've learnt a few things as well, though. Looking at that, it's you think you know it all, but you clearly don't. There's always something new to learn. Just been making some notes on some of the questions that we got asked in the Q&As. If you still want to post some Q&As, we can look at that for a few minutes. One of the recurring things was about separating assignments for isolation work and assignments that are all for all pupils. We probably need to speak with teachers in schools about how they can organise that and maybe work with them for it. We can certainly raise that it's a concern. I think it's fair to say as well, I'm sure there's a few teachers present in the audience as well. What a tremendous job they're doing. They're having to learn this new platform as well very quickly and implement it. And I know the stresses that they're under as well. So we're all learning, and we'll continue working with the schools and the teachers to try and smoothline it all for you a bit more.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I struggled to get off mute there, but thank you, Lee. Thank you very much. And one other thing from me, we do know that we have people that use Teams at work. We have teachers here on the school that use Teams. If you do have any questions about Teams, if your school or if your business require training sessions, please get in touch with me. I would be happy to be your point of contact at Microsoft. We can talk about free training sessions. We can talk about any kind of support that you may need. I just posted my email address over there in our Q&A, so feel free to email me and for us to actually connect there to talk about any kind of support, be it hardware, licenses, or training that you may need. But having said that, back to you, Jason.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. And just like Lee said, feel free to pop in more questions and comments. I know there was one from Meg, and I'm just answering that for you. So don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you at all. But absolutely happy to go through this session with you. I can't wait to see how things go for all of you. Very happy to do more sessions in the future. And if you do see me or Ali in the future, please say hi and let us know how everything's going. But that's it from us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. It's not the end for me. I have another session, so please have a nice cup of tea, have some dinner for me, and think about me still working. But thank you, everyone, and take care. All the best and stay safe.